Somehow, this goes through all of the transitions and things that were listed in the tabletop video and still is so cheap. The Derya Arms DY9. Coming up next, you'll see absolute first shots through the gun. That's right, no special edits or best of hits. No, we show you the first impressions because that's what you would have if you got one of these. Then we'll do full magazine plus one, see how the supplied magazine works. A multi-mag test, since it takes Glock 19 mags, try a couple different types, see how they run. Take it over to the What's for Dinner table to see what the gun eats, the spinner for sights and trigger control, then some practical accuracy, and concluding thoughts from two shooters coming up next on GBGuns.
We are out with the Derya, is that how you say it?
Derya Arms.
Derya Arms DY9. This is, it's big in my hand, but it's not very heavy.
I think we saw these guys at Iwa.
I think so too.
These are being imported by Rock Island.
First shots.
C-zone steel, about 20-ish yards.
Oh. I'm getting some feedback in my headphones. Do you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not
just
just
the
me.
steel ringing.
And that's a testament to how hard it feels like this gun is hitting. I'm impressed. I have questions. I have thoughts developing. And so far I'm pretty excited. Let's see what Graham thinks.
This has, I guess I'll find out for myself, but this has a recoil assembly in it, very much like a cheap knockoff of a DPM system. So I'm really curious to see if it feels like a DPM gun. No? All right, I'll give it a try. All right, 10 rounds of, and we're using Bellum 124 grain for our range ammo in this video.
Okay.
Which, when I chronoed, actually came out pretty soft for 124 grain. It's not bad.
You also have bigger hands and shoot more frequently than I do.
True. I'm using the magwell as I suspected and pointed out on the tabletop. This little magwell is giving my pinky somewhere to go.
Yeah.
And not only is that a comfort thing, but your pinky also gives you a lot of leverage to control muzzle rise. So it's fitting pretty well aside from that glocky, blocky front strap. It's very square across the front, which when your fingers line up, it's perfect. When they don't, it's terrible. Those were both Tia's first shots and mine were from the included magazine, which just is labeled Turkey, but does have a steel liner, much like a Glock magazine. Next, we'll try this mag fully stuffed. Full magazine plus one, I'm going to use a factory Glock mag for, ooh, that goes in there deep, for the one, and then our 15 round Derya magazine fully stuffed. So we've got 16 rounds of Bellum 124 grain, just looking to see how the gun runs while fully stuffed. If you're thinking that we're using 124 grain because it's a Turkish gun and they tend to want NATO ammo, check out the article over at gbgunsdepot.com. I did 7 124 grain loads, and you'd be surprised where this Bellum actually ranks among 124 grains, especially when compared to 115 grains. It ran. And yeah, I just went for speed at that point. I was like, why not? Let's see how the gun runs. Comfy. Next up, we already know, well, I only took one from the Glock mag. We'll try some aftermarket magazines and see how the gun runs on other Glock pattern magazines since it only comes with one. Multi-mag.
So I've got my pocket stuff. First up is the X-Tar.
We're just doing 3 rounds to see if they function in the gun.
Locks open, functioned.
Drop free.
This one is a Jag mag.
Yagaman.
Yagaman. That's clunky.
Oh, yeah. So it has the funky base plate on it with the...
That one's not going to work.
Not with the magwell, yeah.
All right. And then in this pocket, I have a Glock mag. We know it went in, we know it fed around, but does it lock open? It does, and it drops. This one is Fab Ultimag.
Ultimag. Wow, that one typically doesn't drop free, but it had no problem with the Derya.
CTC?
ETS, is that with the smoky mag?
ETS, correct.
Yeah.
And that one goes way up in there. This does not have a name on it.
Oh,
It
is
says
it?
9mm and it's got windows on the back.
Is the back just an empty square, or the underneath? Yeah, that is a Korean, like a KCI mag.
Ah. It's decent feeling. Locks open, drops free. This is the Bull Armory mag.
Looks like it didn't go in all the way. I think the wings, did it?
Oh, no, it did not.
Yep, the wings on the base plate are keeping it from going all the way in.
Yep.
All right, so, and that's because this has a magwell on it. That's a problem you'd have with a magwell on any pistol. So just keep that in mind.
Everything?
That all the mags? All right, now we know what mags run. Let's find out what it eats. It's that time again. Thanks to our patron supporters, Ammo Squared supporters, and some shopping. What's for dinner time? Today we're going from 65 grain up to 158, I believe. We'll check on the other side. As I roll past these, you'll notice that the ogive is in different location. We've got different overall loaded lengths, different case materials, projectile types. We're looking to see what will the gun eat. Will it feed from slide lock? Will it cycle and feed another round of the same type? And will it lock open on empty? So 65 to 165 today. If you want to test any of this yourself, for example, does it do a full mag? Check the pinned comment over at gbgunsstudio.com. I will link to sources of this ammo where I can find it. All right, what's for dinner? Starting off, this first load is in the factory magazine. We're going to use the magazines that worked in our mag test. In this, if we have a malfunction and it's not the factory mag, we'll swap and try that same load in the factory mag just to be sure. But our lightest load today is 65 grain. It's the range training frangible from Norma for circle number 1. We are 7 yards back from a bunch of 2-inch circles, kind of a general aiming point. Whew, but they are as big as this front side post. This stuff always smells nice.
And the wind is hitting in the right direction.
Federal American Eagle frangible 70 grain for circle number 2, and this is in the ETS mag. This stuff smelled different this time. Normally I like that smell. Roast beef and chlorine. At 90 grain. That's what happens when a joke fails, folks. 90 grain, we've got Winchester super clean. If you're not using the factory mag and you have the magwell on, any flat base plate mag goes deep in there. So you just have to keep that in mind. Circle 3. Tia just caught some brass on the boob. Are your boobs okay?
It was my neck.
Oh. That doesn't matter as much. Federal Horny American Gunner 115 grain, circle 4. See if I can not hit low on some of these. I am aiming dead center, folks.
Well, when you've got crayons for front sights,
They are pretty absurd. Blazer aluminum 115 grain. Now keep in mind, aluminum has higher friction on the rounds stacked in the magazine, also going into and out of the chamber. Also expands and contracts at a different rate than brass, so some guns choke on it. Not very often anymore, but it is an issue for some guns. It's hard to keep a straight face without seeing crayons now that I look at these sights.
for Circle 6, we have the Federal Premium Law Enforcement. This is 124 grain.
Tactical HSTs. Crayons?
I have corrected vision, and because of the size of these sights in that circle, I cannot leave both eyes open.
The fiber optic tubes are fat.
SFX from PMC. This is 124 grain also. Circle 7. Federals. What is this one? Personal Defense Hydra-Shock Defense.
Hydra-Shock Deep.
Deep. 135 grain. I suppose I could pick it up, but then I just have to put it down again.
Those were subsonic.
They felt nice.
Yeah, they were much quieter.
PPU's 147 grain. This is their defense line for circle 9.
Keep in mind, folks, this is a 3.86 inch barrel, shorter than optimal.
Those also were nice.
2 of them anyways.
Huh?
2 of them anyways.
That's good. And the Stealth from Ammo Incorporated. These are
165 grain.
There you go. Circle 10. Those smelled the best out of all of them.
And there you have it. No excuse for, oh, Turkish guns only take 124 NATO, blah, blah, blah. We've shot a wide variety and ate them all.
And yeah, different mags too. That's awesome.
Now over to the spinner. That is our 6-inch Titan Grid Outdoors spinner target. We're back about 12 yards away. Use this target for sights and trigger control because it's a small target that starts to move. And the better you hit it, the faster it moves, the more important timing a well-placed shot becomes, hence sights and trigger control. 8 rounds of 124 grain vellum, crayons for sights. Miss. That's right, I was hitting low. I'm sorry you guys can't see the smug look on Miss Tia's face that I did not have a great spinner experience. The low impact I was correcting for by aiming at the red-white line border. As we can see, I still had 2 that hit down there and then 3 above, missing 3 times. 3 above is probably from healing. This trigger does have, as I showed in the tabletop, a less defined wall that still requires kind of punching through, and I think that was causing me to have a little bit of flinch error. That plus the sights, which they really grab you. There's no ignoring these sights. The camera's adjusting, of course, you can't tell what the sun is setting, so we're in kind of dim light here. The sights are glowing brilliantly. They're easy to grab and see, but it made finer aiming for this a little more difficult combined with the trigger. So I didn't have the best round. Let's see how.
I think it's the pinky on the mag well that's throwing you because you're using it too much, more than you would normally use it.
That would cause me to hit low because I'd be squeezing there. That could be.
It's almost like I've been trained.
Well, it's Tia's turn, so let's see what that talking gets her. Tia's up. She's got 10 rounds of that vellum 124 grain.
Flinch.
It also, yeah, it seems like it didn't quite go into battery that time.
I don't have a round in either. What is going on?
Did the magazine not get all the way in? Well, obviously it did if it fed the first round. This is an ETS mag.
I got excited. Yeah, I got too excited, but I was almost there.
And in Tia's defense, spoiler alert, vellum 124 grain only yielded 300 foot-pounds out of a 4 1/4 inch barrel. So with this 3.8 inch barrel, it's really soft. You had good hits, lots of good hits. It just didn't have the ooey to get it over the top.
Well, and I tend to wait to see that come back into my perfect sight picture. And the second I got excited, my sights were doing this because I was watching the spinner. The trigger worked great for me. It's my speed trigger, if you will. The sights also worked great. Like Graham mentioned, the setting sun is making them really pop and they're contrasted. So working on a red target was super easy. I could have done it. I was a little flustered from the first round going and then the mag not being seated correctly. But yeah, overall, the gun allowed me to perform that well.
5 shots from 7 yards using that Bellum 124 grain. These squares are 1 inch. I'm educated. Typically, that's the same width as a front sight post. With these sights, the black square is actually narrower than the front sight post. So I'm just going to shoot when I don't see it. I'm unstable. I totally flinched that last one.
5 shots from 7 yards. Make sure that mag is in there good. I'll aim at the right circle square. What the heck?
Not a bad gun at all. I'm really impressed for the price point. Is it the most comfortable thing? Not for me. I don't care for the blocky front strap on it. Tia wanted to change the back strap. I did not bring punches. Usually that pin's easy enough to drive out. We unscrewed and removed the mag well. Could not drive that pin out without serious punches and a serious hammer. It wasn't something doable in the range. So that might have changed things a little bit. Also, to Tia's point, and this is a smart thing, when you have a mag well like this that assists, I'm talking to you guys with larger hands, if you're used to using your pinky pressure to control muzzle flip or to compensate for a gun being too small, having a mag well with this lip like this, which is great, means you don't need as much pressure. And I do believe her assessment is correct that I'm probably applying my normal extra pressure down here. And that's keeping...
This is where you want your pressure anyway to hold that down.
Allegedly. Not going to give her that point, but I'll give her the point that I'm squeezing too much of my pinky and that's throwing my shots low. Also, the trigger is maybe a little bit coarse for me. This is once again one of those times when a cheater trigger can result in better marksmanship, or I'm not having a perfect day, but none of it can I really blame on the gun. It's just me. And for the price point, you could afford the ammo to get good with the gun. So I think that's pretty cool. These sights are obnoxiously fat, but that works for defensive use. I mean, XS Sights built their whole brand on oversized sights because that helps you get on target quicker. Is it the best for shooting groups? Probably not, but it functions. So really no faults. Good job on this, Derya, and thank you, Rock Island, for importing these. Thank you, patrons, for making this review possible, because I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have been sent one for review otherwise.
Fatness. I was able to determine that it's because that this sight is bigger than the target once that you're aiming at it. I was nosing the gun down just a little bit so I could see the top of that target. And in doing that, in verifying my shot, nosing it down just enough, I lost my side to side. So, it's whatever.
It happens.
It is not the fault of the gun. This gun, it's blocky design, it's bright Crayola. The bright crayon size sights and their vibrancy, like, it was built for a Marine. I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, as blocky as it is, the texturing that they've done on the front and the rear are really great. I enjoyed the trigger. It is not it's not a trigger that you're gonna, you gotta let it out and pull it back. And as long as you're using it that way, it's a great trigger. Slide release works perfectly. I don't like it when they stick, and that's always good. Memory points are great. I don't have any complaints of it. I do wish that I could have experimented with the back straps a little bit. I think that would have given me, I need a little bit more bump at the bottom. I've learned over the course of all of these reviews, just a little bit more right here would have allowed my hand to not slip when I grip, if that makes sense. Great reach. I'm impressed. And for $200, go get you one.
Thank you, Patience, for making this possible, and thank the rest of you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.